Come to question number 10. SMT Rani. What is SMT Rani? Srimati Rani. Started a proprietary business on 4th June 18. The details of which are as under. Okay. Dates are given. She started business on what? 4th June 18. Yes. Out of her own savings of how much rupees? 3 lakh rupees. Correct. Then in the same year, that is 18-19, she again got some funds from husband as gift, rupees 2 lakhs, correct? And for that year, how much the profit total? Rupees 3 lakhs. Then in 1920, she got some funds from mother as well as mother-in-law. And for that year, the profit now is rupees 4,60,000. And during next year, 2021, during that year, she got gift from father-in-law, but then incurred losses in that year. What is clearly asked? Nothing is asked clearly. Obviously, you have to do clubbing of income. Now, which concept is this? Common provisions. Transfer. Correct. Where were we? Chapter 10, no? Common provision for transfer of asset to spouse or son's wife, correct? Either to spouse, that means husband to wife, or wife to husband. And son's wife means daughter-in-law. Transferor will be father-in-law or mother-in-law. Is it okay? Now, when the assets are transferred to so-and-so transferees, either spouse or daughter-in-law, and it is invested in a business, then whatever will be the profit as well as losses of that business will be clubbed in the hands of transferor in a particular ratio. The first figure which is circled in blue, what it was? That was apportionment. That figure had to be apportioned, either profit or losses of that business. This will be now obviously apportioned every year, profit or losses for every year. So it will be apportioned every year between the hands of transfer. In what ratio? Investment by spouse out of assets transferred without adequate consideration as on the first day of the previous year. Again, I am repeating, the spouse will include father-in-law or mother-in-law, because it is transferor can be both spouse, father-in-law or mother-in-law. Okay? So investments by spouse, and the denominator is what? Total investment of the transferee as on the first day of the PY. Correct? I think I repeated also last time yesterday that in the denominator will be bigger than the numerator. Is it okay, Leo? Fine. If you can club income, you can also club the losses. Done till here, everyone? Right now. Some points. SMT, Srimati Rani, has received gift that is without consideration. What is happening? Is it rain or firecrackers? Crackers. Wrong. How many people? Check.
3, 4,
5. So she received from 4. Yes? Check. Husband, mother, mother-in-law, father-in-law. Very good. From 4 persons. Now, out of these 4 persons, clubbing will be done in the hands of all 4 persons?
No.
Why?
Husband, mother, and father.
Very good. That means something very important you have to understand. Gift from mother or father is not to be clubbed. Only from spouse, father-in-law or mother-in-law will be clubbed. Clubbing provisions will not apply for gift from mother. Okay. Therefore, clubbing of proportionate profits oblique losses will be done in hands of husband in this case now, comma, father-in-law and mother-in-law. Done? Business was set up on which date? 4th June 2018. No, sorry. Therefore, PY 2018-19 is from 1st April 2018. Now you are getting very smart. Correct? Not falling in the traps now. It's from 4th June 18 to 31st March 2019 as per क्या बात as per section 3 of which act? और वो भी आंसर है. Okay. What rate? Whichever rate. What rate? At what rate? Full stop. However, for PY 1920 onwards, PY is from 1st April, correct, to 31st March. Done? Next line or next point. Amount to be clubbed. Profit oblique loss. Are you following here? So even loss can be or will be clubbed. Amount in capital account out of gift from husband, father-in-law, mother-in-law on which day? First day of PY. Fine. Upon capital account balance on first day of PY. Both of them are first day to be compared. Done? Fine till here? Can you prepare a capital account? What is the name of the assessee? Rani. What? Right? First, is there contribution? When did she invest? 4, 6, 18. By bank, by cash, whatever account you want to write. I'm writing in bracket self contribution. Is it okay? How much amount? 3 lakhs. Correct? During the year, now tell me the entries. Next is what? Husband का gift of husband 5, 8, 18. 5, 8, 18. Speaker. Again by bank account. But now husband gift. Husband is not gifted. Husband gifted. Gift from husband. Husband from gift. Okay. Husband's gift. Happy. How much? You want what gift? Nahi na. Is there a profit? What where entry now? 31st March you can say. 31st March 19. Yes or no? By P&L account? Yes. Profit for the year. How much? Continue this account now for all the years. Okay. Even if it is future date still. कितना है 5, 6, 8 lakhs. How much? Obviously 8 lakhs. Brought down, no? 8 lakhs. Now, what happened in 1920? Again gifts, no? 6, 7, 19 and 5, 8, 19. Buy again फिर से बैंक. Happy. From mother. Mother's gift. Mother gift. जड़ एकदम जड़. But will it go in the capital account? We'll write down here. Mother's gift. How much? 10 lakhs. One more. 5, 8, 19 again from mother in law's gift. Correct? How much? 8 lakhs. Again profits. 31, 3, 20 by P&L account. How much profit? 4 lakh 60. To balance carried down. To buy balance brought down.
3 lakh 60.
How much?
30 lakh 60,000.
Find till here. Now in 2021, what happened? 8, 8, 20. Yes. Again, by bank account. Fill this gift. It is loss case, that's why I am considering that here also. How much gift he gave?
2 lakh.
And then there is a loss. 31st March 21. How much loss?
5 lakh 80,000.
Carry it down. 26.
80,000.
80,000. Total is 32, no?
Yes. No. 32 lakh 60,000.
Just highlight your first day balances for 3 years. 21, 22 not relevant. From the beginning of the year, 18, 19. There is no opening balance over here, correct? For the first year as such. But there is no first day of the PY. What? Which one? Fine. Done till here, everyone got the account? Fine. Next line. Computation of total income. Computation of total income. So the total profit or loss for the year will be apportioned between all these people, not with just the mother. There is no question of clubbing. So can we say Rani's amount will be just balance from the total profit or loss? From the total profit or loss, now whatever is apportioned between husband, mother-in-law and father-in-law, the balance will be with Rani or Rani's own income, you can say. Finally, everyone. Here the first year is 2018, 19, correct? Now, in year 1819, first of all, is there a question of mother-in-law and father-in-law? Nine, nothing. But with husband, so right now we are just apportioning that 3 lakh profit. Yes or no? So 3 lakhs. check the formula. What was the formula? Investment from whatever.
मतलब जो भी spouse या फिर उससे amount मिला है वो
Correct.
divided by total.
Okay, fine. I hope you could explain now. Can you give me numbers?
Yeah. 2 lakh divided by 5.
2 lakh divided by 5 lakh. Okay. Correct. Numerator, denominator, both of them are first day of PY. Okay, what is the number of numerator? Nil, 0. As on first day, there is no gift from anybody. Or the will come in the next year. Okay, so right now this is 0. There is no gift as on from anyone else as on the first day of the PY. But is there a balance in the capital account on the first day of PY? Yes. How much? Whatever she has herself contributed, 3 lakh rupees. Correct? Yes or no? Not 1 lakh. Which one? 4th June. And what did you write over here? Govind understood your mistake. 4th June. Still is first day of PY. Yes? Nobody rectified his mistake, understood. Okay? Shh. First day of PY 1819 is 4th June 18. Correct? So basically nothing is clubbed. This calculation obviously come as 0 or nil, you can say. So entire profit is in the hands of Rani. For that year, is it right? 1920. Okay, Leo? Now, if at all you understood the concept of 1819, okay, then for 1920, who all will be clubbed? Only husband. Only husband. If you did not care for him in 1819, because he came after first day of PY. So similarly, father-in-law or mother-in-law, they are coming or whatever after first day of PY. So there is no calculation of father-in-law and mother-in-law for till 1920 because their own contribution does not exist as on 1/4/19. Is it clear? Whose? Father-in-law and mother-in-law. As on means existing, okay, and on that period. How much is the profits for the year 1920? 4,60,000. Okay. In the opening balance of capital account for that year, how much is proportionate or portion of husband?
2 lakhs.
Very good. Right? In the opening balance of capital account for as on 1/4/19, how much belongs from husband? 2 lakhs. And what is the opening balance of capital account on 1/4/19? 8 lakhs. Correct? 1/4 is what? Kitna hai? 1 lakh 15,000. Okay. Highlight this question. Huh? This is just like a slump sale, little bit different types of questions. So obviously Rani gets how much?
3,45,000.
4,60,000 minus 1,15,000 is how much? 3,45,000. Clear, everyone? Next year is what? Okay, good. 2021. Again, first decide clubbing in whose hands? Who all? So why not fill? Again, no contribution as on 1/4/20. After that he is doing, no? Therefore, no clubbing. Fine? Profit or loss? How much? Again, just take the date as on 1/4/20. In the balance of the 1/4/20, is husband's contribution still there? Obviously there. How much? 2 lakh. That is right now not changing. But then balance, opening balance is how much?
30,60,000.
Good. 30,60,000. Compute.
37,900.
In loss, show in bracket. MIL contributed 8 lakhs. Oh, nice. Okay. It is again loss, obviously. How much? Fine. And over here I am writing positive figures, but I hope you understand what it is. 5,80,000 minus 37,908 minus 151,634. Yes. How much balance for her loss remaining?
3,90,458.
Total should be all round figure. Huh? 886 and 4, correct. Fine. So let it be profit or let it be loss. You understood when to club and how to club. Important question, okay? Different question rather. That is it. Come to question 11. Shanti carried on a business with gifted funds of her husband Mahesh for rupees 3 lakhs. There was no other investment in the business. During the year, Shanti incurred loss of rupees 2 lakhs. What is the tax implication? Okay, not given, no. So what are they given in the question? Correct. She started carried on the business with gifted funds of her husband. So as on the first day of the PY, the funds are from husband. In our earlier question right now, Rani's case, she herself has started the business, then she got contribution. Here the first day contribution itself is for husband or whatever, yes, Mahesh. Okay. So for that year, it will be club in hands of Mahesh. Okay, right now. Mr. Mahesh has gifted funds to his spouse Shanti. She started business by investment of this amount. Therefore, the loss of rupees, how much? 2 lakhs, no? Will be entirely clubbed. Will be entirely clubbed in hands of Mahesh. In hands of Mahesh. Done? 14. Mr. Sharma has 4 children consisting 2 daughters and 2 sons. The annual income of 2 daughters was rupees 9,000 and 4,500 and sons were 6,200 and 4,300 respectively. The daughter who has income of 4,500 was suffering from a disability specified under section 80U. Compute the amount of income earned by minor children to be clubbed in the hands of Mr. Sharma. That's what they should write in the question. Over there you can write 4 minor children. All 4 are minor, okay? All 4 are minor. Done? Write down computation of income to be clubbed in hands of Mr. Sharma. Don't forget we are doing the amount which are clubbed, okay? Click for PY 1920 AY 2021. Write down. Particulars. Correct? All 4 are different figures, no? Yes? Okay. What all incomes are there? Have they given nature of income? 9. Annual income of 2 daughters. I'll just write down. Achha, have they given 9,000? Who is suffering from disability? 4,500. Daughter 2's whatever it is 4500 will not be clubbed. Why? Will not be clubbed since disabled as per section 80U. What are the exceptions always for clubbing? Manual labor, skill, knowledge and disability under section 80U. That is it. So how much will be clubbed? All these amounts? How much? It is it per child under section 1032 up to. It is up to, no? 1500 each or per child. So over here also 1500. Here there is no question of exemption. And again 1500. Therefore, amount to be clubbed. How much?
7,500.
4,700 and 2,800, right? Who will be Miss and Mrs. Nothing. Who will be Mr. and who will be Mrs. Fit 13. Question 13. Read here. Check. Who transferred who what? Mr. Korani transferred some debentures to who all? Wife and both the sons. One is minor, one is major son. So obviously tell me transfer to major son, clubbing will happen. There is no question of clubbing. So that income will be taxable in the hands of major son only. Whatever he earns. Clubbing is done of minor's income or spouse, not of son or daughter. Okay? Then stop talking nonsense. Then they earn some interest on the debentures. Yes, this income will be clubbed, not clubbed. But is debentures income? Debenture is debt or income or asset? Service. Oh my god, right. Exactly. Expenditure is income. So Mr. Korani's company. Oh my god. Mr. Can you see Mr. Korani? Somebody's expenses, somebody's income, somebody's liability should be somebody's asset. So he transferred asset, not income. He transferred debentures. Where is the income? So that income now. How it is income on income? It is income on asset. Income on income is different. So when the debenture interest is again invested somewhere and then again you earn some income, that will not be club. Okay. So the first interest what she was saying answer was correct. The first interest what they receive is just income. Correct? That will be club. Shh. What did they do of this amount? They all deposited with some Kartar finance company as FD something, and the company then paid them interest. Yes or no? What? That will not be club. That is income on income. Then again, Chintu Pintu earned some 50,000 stage performance. They invested in this in FD and earned 2,500 each. Okay, right now. Mrs. Korani transferred to what? Mrs. Korani. Who is the minor one? Pintu. Pintu, no? And Chintu is not minor. Bandya? Right. For Korani and Pintu, clubbing will happen, but for Chintu, clubbing will not be clubbed in the hands of Mr. Korani. Clubbing provisions applicable. And Chintu? क्या बात? Clubbing provisions not applicable. It means what? His income. Whose income? Chintu's income will be taxed in Chintu's hands only. Done? Particulars. Now whatever clubbing will be happening, those two columns. First in the hands of Mrs. Korani. And then what? Pintu? Pintu is what? Minor. First column can be small, no problem. So explanation you would write in the second and third column. Okay. Tell me first of all, the transfer of debentures, is that income? That is transfer of asset. Debenture is asset, this is sure now. For invest, the person who is investing it is asset. So will clubbing happen on transfer of debentures? That moment. What is the name of the chapter? Clubbing of assets and liabilities. Income. Then when will clubbing happen? When income is actually accrued or arising. So transfer of debentures, is it income? The interest on debentures is the income. Are you following here? So just ignore whatever he has transferred debentures to all these people. Only when they are earning the income, that is what, when we are interested to club it in the hands of Mr. Kola. Understood here? So I am not even writing transfer of debentures. That at that moment clubbing is not happening. Understood? When the income will arise, that time we will have to club. Right now. So interest on debentures. Transfer without adequate consideration. Again, highlight if you want. Interest. Okay. So if it is to be clubbed, you have to write the figure, you have to write some explanation. If it is not to be clubbed, then again as it is, you have to write the explanation. Yes or no? Tell me, Mrs. Korani will be clubbed in the hands of Mr. Korani. How much did she earn, by the way? Interest. Again, all those three are in sequence, no? 30,000 will be clubbed in hands of Mr. Korani since asset was transferred to spouse for inadequate consideration. Okay, so the income arising on that basically is club. Next one, how much? 15,000. Clubbed or not clubbed? Will be clubbed. In hands of. Why? Because of minor. Some assumption we have to do here. Oh, he's not disabled. Oh, fine. Income. Apart from this income, no? iOS. Any other? Other than this 15,000. Fine. What is the next income they are earning? Deposits. With Kardar Finance. Okay. Right. No clubbing of rupees. How much it is? How much you earn? 3,000. Since it is income on income. Full stop. Therefore, taxable in whose hands? Huh? Herself, no. It will not be clubbed, so it will be taxed in her hands only. What about minor? Same also. Income on income. It will be clubbed. Minor's income is always clubbed in bracket unless it does not fall under, correct, fall under all in those three exceptions. Yes. How much will be clubbed? 1,500 taxable in hands of. Done. Any other income? Which one? First they have what? Stage performance. Stage performance income. Huh? Correct. No clubbing. Since earned through skill, talent, whatever words, okay? Therefore, taxable in hands of. Into, no? Who's? But right now we are doing clubbing. So when we'll do the computation of income of all four of them, entire family, that time we will have to separately again take into consideration. And last one, interest on FD. Who deposited and who earned interest? Not Mrs. Korani, no. So it is again Chintu Pintu, each, no. Clubbed or not clubbed? This will be clubbed. Clubbed since does not fall under good. How much is that to be clubbed? Rupees 2,500. Taxable in hands of Mr. Korani. For Pintu, this income is taxed in the hands of Korani. Chintu, we have to get 2. Each. Done. Right now. Computation of total income. We will do of all 4 now. Even if all the incomes are earned by Mrs. Korani and the children, we'll have to also include the column of Mr. Korani, because ultimately some income was also taxed in his hands also. And this woman does not let me speak only. Particulars, Mr. Korani, then Mrs. Korani, then Pintu. Pintu was minor, no? And Chintu, his name is Chintu, but he is major sound. First one, debenture interest of Mrs. Korani. How much? 30,000. Again, debenture interest of, correct, of Pintu. How much? 15,000, no? What else is tax in his hands?
1,000.
FD interest. FD interest earned by pin 2. 2500.
1,500. वो last वाले FD का भी
Okay, there are two, no? FD interest earned by pin 2. Okay, so there are two of them, correct. 1500, no?
finance number.
And same FD interest earned by pin 2. One more is there. Is how much? 2500, correct. Find here. Now, income from minor clubbed in hands of Mr. Korani. Give me this figure.
49,000.
Wrong answer. 15, this 17, 18, 19,000. No? First, you have to just right now just write down what is the gross income from minors, whatever is clubbed in his hands, as well as it is pin 2 always. There is only one minor, no? Why are we doing this? To claim exemption. It is 1500. Pay attention. Two things are important. You are getting exemption only on minor's income. Even if Mrs. Korani income is getting clubbed in his hands, can we claim 1032? No. So we can claim 1032 only on minor's income. And right now in the question there is only one minor. But it is always, you know, that 1032 is per child. So first you have to decide how much is the, or decide means understand how much is the total minor's income. Okay? 19,000 less what? Exemption under section 1032. How much? 1500 exemption, yes or no? This comes to 17,500. This obviously will club together or not club together. Will now directly add with 30,000 for the sake of computation. Okay. So Mr. Korani's story is done. Nothing else will be clubbed in his hand now. Everything is done. Second. What about Mrs. Korani? Which income is taxed in her hands only? Interest on Acha. FD earned by Mrs. Korani. That was taxed in her hands only. Yes. Deposited with Kartar Finance. How much? 3,000? So tax in hands of Mrs. Korani 3,000. Correct? From the same company, what about Chintu? Achha, any other income remains of Mrs. Korani? Okay. Just let me just write down income. I'll just write on here only. Income of Chintu. Chintu is what? Major son. Everything is as it is taxable in his own hands. Is it clear? What all income he has? He has FD income twice. Yes or no? And as well as stage performance. Yes? FD income I am also writing twice. FD income. And then there is also stage performance. FD income
1,500.
interest on debentures is also there. One more then. Correct? No? Achha, that FD income is actually interest on debentures, not twice. No? How much it was originally? 1,500? 15,000. Okay. Then that was invested and then FD was earned of 1500. Then there is a stage performance. How much he earned? 50,000. Is it right? One more we have to add. Yes, it was twice this correct, but okay, sequence. And now again there is FD income of 2500. Is it right? Okay. This is as per sequence. Is there one more income remaining now? Of pin 2, correct, in his own hands, correct. Income of pin 2. Each दिया है. Take it each. Fine. Stage performance again. Yes. Stage performance. How much is also 50,000. Right. Anything else remains? Total income. Mr. Korani plus 30,000, 47. Then Mrs. Korani,
3,000.
this guy 50. This is 69,000. No? All of it is taxable for Chintu. Yes. Question 1. Obviously, we just have to check whether clubbing provisions will apply or not, right, in the notebook. Question 1 or A rather. In question 1A, Mr. A transfer an asset to Mr. B for 10 years. So it is a revocable transfer. So clubbing will happen or not? Clubbing will happen or not? Simple question. Yes, no? For an exception, it has to be irrevocable transfer. Even in exception, there were certain exceptions. Even for an irrevocable transfer, there was an exception. This is first of all an revocable transfer. So there will be clubbing. Right now. Mr. A transferred asset to Mr. B, which will be revoked after 10 years, correct? Therefore, it is a revocable transfer. Therefore, income from such asset will be clubbed in hands of Mr. A, that is transferor. Next one. Mr. A transferred an asset to Mr. B, which shall be retransferred to Mr. A on Mr. B's death. This is a revocable transfer, sorry, correct? Revocable transfer, but will not be clubbed. This falls under exception. Why? It cannot be revoked during the lifetime of the transferee, correct, or any other beneficiary. Right now, asset will be retransferred to Mr. A on death of Mr. B, in bracket, he is the beneficiary right now. Beneficiary, that is, it cannot be revoked. Yes. During lifetime of Mr. B, beneficiary. Therefore, clubbing provisions will not apply, and therefore income will be taxed. Correct. In hands of Mr. B. Next one. What if in the above case Mr. A gets 25% of income? So 25% will be taxable. Does it fall under exceptions? That is the question. Why not?
No, it's not correct. It rhymes indirect benefit.
Entire.
Indirect.
No direct or indirect benefit whatsoever. So only if he gets 25% or 100% doesn't matter. If there is a benefit, clubbing provisions completely will apply. Okay, right now. Even if the asset will be transferred back, the asset will be transferred back on death of Mr. B, but Mr. A is receiving 25% of income. Mr. A is receiving 25% of income, that is some benefit on the asset. Therefore, entire income will be clubbed in hands of Mr. A. Correct? Done? Next one. Mr. A invests in FD in a bank. However, the interest on the same would be credited to the savings bank account of his friend, Mr. X. What case is this?
Indirect.
Now, what transfer? What without what transfer? What is the case I am asking? Not transfer of correct. Income is transferred, not asset. क्या बोल? Without transfer of asset. Transfer of income without transfer of asset. You use FD, no? FD is the asset. You said FD is transferred. FD is not transferred. Asset is not transferred. Income is transferred. It is transfer of income without transfer of asset case. Therefore, even if interest is received by Mr. X, his friend is what? Mr. X, no? It will be clubbed. It will be clubbed in hands of Mr. A. Therefore, interest is taxable in hands of Mr. A. Fine. Point number E. F transferred agricultural land permanently to G with a condition that 25% of income from land should be handed over to him. G earned an income of rupees 4 lakh from the transferred property. Same like case number C. But what is the entirely to be clubbed in the hands of F? Yes or no? How many lakhs? 4 lakhs, no? Correct? In hands of Mr. Jobier. F. Mr. Watson has transferred through a duly registered document the income arising from a go down to his son without transferring the go down, in whose hand will the rental income on the go down be charged. This is again transfer of income without transfer of asset case. Correct? I think one example was there, no? We have already done of house property. House property is transferred, the rent on the house property is given in the name of wife, but ownership was not yet transferred. It was something like that was there. Transfer of income without transfer of asset. Therefore, entire rental income will be taxed in hands of Mr. Watson. He came to India, became Watson. Take a break. Page number. Some part is still maybe. Clubbing of income done of minor. Conversion of self-acquired property into HUF's property. Self-acquired means what? Acquired self. The property which is acquired by himself or herself. Conversion. So that property which was bought by himself or herself, that is put in the, you can say, in the basket of HUF's property. Correct? Now what happens if it goes in HUF's property? It will be now deemed as property of HUF. Now tell me again another thing. From HUF's point of view, who is the from this transaction point of view, who is the transferee? Is HUF. So HUF is receiving some property, either movable or immovable. Let us right now assume for inadequate consideration. What will happen? What do we remember from IOS, income from other sources? It is gift in the hands of HUF, but member of HUF is related to the HUF, so it will be exempt. Yes or no? It will not be taxable as gift. Are you following? So this is something like that. But in this case, his own property is giving it to HUF. Now pay attention. The income from such property. Now which property? Which was transferred to HUF will continue to be included in the total income of the transferor. It will be clubbed in the hands of member transferor. In which case, an individual member of HUF converts his individual property into the property of HUF. When we had lots of examples of joint family, the property belonged to the joint family, correct, HUF, and only later on when there was a partial or total partition, then those assets were distributed to the members. Yes or no? So here what is happening is there is still an HUF. The member on his own income has purchased or acquired a property in his own name from his own income, and then he is giving this property to the HUF. Just right now, obviously, HUF is a separate legal entity. Yes or no? Where? How? Where it is given? HUF is a separate SEC. How? Chapter 1, types of persons. That is actually very basic. Huh? Person, HUF. Individual partner, firm. All of them are different assessees from income tax point of view. HUF is a separate person. Yes. So why is he doing it? Even if he has got the property or he has acquired the property, just it is kind of transferring the asset, so that the income will be taxed in the hands of HUF. That is the reason actually. Okay. Throws such property in the common stock. Now means common stock means whatever is the total property of the HUF, in that he is just adding his own property. Okay. Through the act of impressing such separate property with the character of property belonging to the family, or throwing it into the common stock of the family. For time being, assume he has bought some livestock, okay, and that livestock he is mixed with the livestock of the HUF. So his own property is mixing into the property of HUF, showing it that, or it is being, you can say, shown that it is property of the HUF. They are not separable in a way. Okay. Otherwise, transfer such individual property directly or indirectly to the family, otherwise than for adequate consideration. That means he either transfers it to the HUF or to any of the family members for adequate, for other than adequate consideration. This becomes gift or not? This becomes gift. So check. In second case now, where the converted property. What is this converted property? Converted from where to where? From individual member to HUF. That income will still be taxable in the hands of member or no? Yes, it will be taxable in the hands of member in these cases. Okay. So when the converted property is now been again partitioned. Are you following here? The converted property was part of common stock of HUF property for total or partial partition. The income derived from such property received by the spouse on partition shall be clubbed in the total income of the individual who effected the conversion of such property. Little bit confusing. There is an HUF, or there was an HUF. Mr. X himself acquired a property. Okay, then he converted the property, okay, in the common stock of HUF. Is it okay, Leo? Till the time this property belongs to the HUF, the income on the same will be will be taxed in the hands of member. Fine till here? Now when again in future, now there is a partition, correct? And whatever is the property of HUF, that is being what? That is being partitioned amongst various members of the HUF. And now here, pay attention. Correct, not Mr. X, Mrs. X, or you can also say instruct HUF, that the property whichever I had given you, you give it back now to my spouse. Are you following here? So ultimately what is happening? This is indirect transfer to spouse, okay, but only in the case of partition. So the cases that he has transferred to the HUF before partition, and after partition the HUF has transferred now to the spouse of the person who had in the first place given this property to HUF. Okay, so check. Where the converted property has been partitioned, the income derived from such property, okay, received by the spouse on the partition will be clubbed in the hands of person who had given this property to HUF. Okay. Section 10.2 I think is already covered. 10.1 was what? Agriculture. 2 is HUF. 2A was your form. Check. Any sum received by an individual as a member of an HUF, where such sum has been paid out of income of the family, or in the case of any impartible estate. Impartible means you can say without partition. Where such sum has been paid out of the income of the estate belonging to the family shall be exempt. Why? Because HUF has already paid tax on the same. Only the exception case is what? Check. Important. 64.2. The case which we are doing right now. Okay. So here, when HUF is giving some income or transferring the asset to the spouse, this will be taxable in the hands of this original person. Okay. Check one example. So what happened in question 60? Mr. A transferred a property to HUF, value of which is rupees 26 lakhs. It earns income at the rate of 10%. Then later on, partition of HUF took place and distribution was made. Income was received by following persons. So there is case 1 and then there is case 2. Let us first check case 1. What will happen? 10% of 26 lakhs will be what? What about it? Will be taxed in the hands of Mr. A. Mr. A has transferred his individual property to HUF. Therefore, income earned from such property, by HUF of rupees 2.6 lakhs will be clubbed, that is taxed in hands of Mr. A. Fine. And income on now partition, or income after partition. Now whatever he has received will be taxed. Correct? Mrs. A will be clubbed with hands of Mr. A. Obviously we are assuming that whatever is the partition happening, That is, he has given some property to HUF, and from there only the partition is happening in that same HUF. So whatever income goes in the hands of Mrs. A will be clubbed in the hands of Mr. A. Then Mr. Y, who is Mr. Y?
Son of A.
Major son of Mr. A. What will happen? Will be taxed in his own hands. Mrs. Y, her own hand, and Mr. X, Mr. Y's hand. Maybe no, or Mrs. Y.
Mrs. Y.
Mrs. Y income, depending on the income. Right now. Mr. A, how much rupees? 1 lakh, taxable in his own hands. Mrs. A, rupees 20,000, clubbed in hands of Mr. A, that is the original transferor. Fine. Mr. Y, major son of Mr. A. No clubbing will apply. How much rupees he got? Rupees 20,000 will be taxable in his own hands, since clubbing will not apply. Then Mrs. Y, she is what? Mrs. Y. So rupees 1 lakh, taxable in her own hand. Since section 64(2) does not cover sons Y, then last one is what? Mr. X, minor son of Mr. Y, rupees 10,000 will be clubbed. After exemption under section 1032 of rupees 1,500, that is rupees 8,500. Yes, in hands of
Mrs. Y.
since her income is more than Mr. Y's income, in bracket, assuming there is no other income, assuming both of them have no other income. No other income, or rather we don't have details of their any other income. So just to clarify whose income is higher. 17. Mr. A has 3 minor children, 2 twin daughters and 1 son. Income of the twin daughters is rupees 2,000 per annum each, and that of the son is rupees 1200 per annum. Compute the income in respect of minor children to be clubbed in the hands of Mr. A. Give me the final figure. 1000 is correct. So there is no limit on number of children to claim the exemption of N32. Correct? I'll write in short. Daughter 1, daughter 2, son 1, there is no son 2, son 2 is not present. Income is how much? 2000, 2000 and 1200, yes, less exemption under section, then 32, 1500, 1500, 1200, yes. Income to be clubbed. Yes. Next one, 18. Compute the GTI in brief of Mr. and Mrs. A from the following information. Okay, salary income computed of Mrs. A. Whenever you will have the word computed in bracket, it means the final figure from that head of income. That means for salary income, standard deduction was already claimed. There. Okay, salary income of Mrs. A to be clubbed?
No.
No. When is salary income of spouse clubbed?
No. Substantial interest.
No profession, no qualification, experience, skill. Okay, correct. So right now nothing else is given. We will see that. Income from profession of Mr. A. Okay. Income of minor son B from company deposit. Company deposit means just like a fixed deposit, but now done with the company. Okay. Income of minor daughter C from special talent. Interest from bank received by C. Who is C? That in minor daughter on deposit made out of her special talent, and gift received by C on 30th September 2019 from friend of Mrs. A. Okay, done till here. What do you have to calculate?
Gross income.
GTI of Mr. and Mrs. A. Actually here now, okay, check Mrs. A income 2,30,000. Mr. A's income even before clubbing, any of the clubbing is 3,90,000. So whether any of the income is clubbed in the hands of Mrs. A, nothing. Income of Mrs. A is taxable in hands of Mrs. A only. So she has just 1,900 computation. Her gross total income is salary 2,30,000 rupees. Understood? Right now. Since her income before clubbing is less than income of Mr. A, therefore no clubbing will happen in her hands. No clubbing will happen in her hands. No clubbing will happen in her hands. Now what else should I tell you? Nobody's. Her salary income is taxed in her own hands. Therefore, gross total income of Mrs. A is rupees 2,13,000. Done? Computation of GTI of Mr. A. We'll just write down particulars and rupees. How many heads of income are there? For Mr. A, there are only two, no? Only two means which one then? Which one? Profession and IRS. Do we have any other computation to be done under that head of income? Nothing. So directly 3,90,000. If you want, you can make a inner column over here. Then income from other sources. Okay. Income of minor son from company deposit. How much amount is there? Income 15,000. Income of minor daughter C from special talent. Will not be clubbed, no? So just write down the income and why, okay? Income of minor daughter is not clubbed since earned by special talent, no? Yes? Interest from bank received by C, that minor daughter C, on deposit made out of her special talent. To be clear, is it not income on income? It is an income on income, but minus income is always clubbed. Okay. Interest earned by daughter on deposit. How much? 3,000. And fourth one. Gift received by C. C was again daughter on so and so date from friend of Mrs. A. Now whatever is the income of the minor daughter, if it does not fall under exception, will be clubbed in the hands of Mr. A. So if it is taxable in the hands of C, it will become taxable in the hands of A, the father. And gift from non-relative, but is not exempt, but less than 50,000, therefore not taxable. Okay. Gift from non-relative to minor daughter, not exceeding rupees 50,000, therefore not taxable. Understood? This is how much? 18,000? Yes or no? Outer column 18,000.
So 3,000.
Correct? 3,000. 1,500 each. No, it is per child. Has he? See, doesn't matter how many child he has, or doesn't matter how many minor children he has. Those very number of minor children whose income is clubbed in his hands, that much we can claim. And obviously, don't. This is actually may not be perfect way of understanding why, because see, daughter's income clubbed is 3,000. Okay, it is not always cumulative exemption. From this 3,000, okay, 1,500 belongs for this income. Are you following here? As well as from this exemption of 3,000, 1,500 belongs to 15,000 income. Are you following or no? For example, just pay attention. If at all this was just rupees 1,000, the exemption would have been total will be 2,500. For here 1,500 and over here 1,000. So be careful. Exemption cannot be more than the income. Okay. So it is not a cumulative exemption. It is per child exemption. Understood or no? And both income are more than 1,500. So we can claim exemption of 3,000. Everyone got it? Go in. समझा क्या? So outer column. कसं होतं तुझं काय कळत? करेक्ट? क्या बात है ना? ग्रॉस टोटल इनकम is how much? 4,05,000. हो गया? 19. Yeah, we should write a note here if you want. Per child rupees 1,500. Fine. Per child rupees 1,500. We claimed over there. 19. Mr. B is the karta of an HUF whose members derive income as given below. That means we just have to see whether the income will be clubbed or not. Okay. Explain the tax implication in the hands of Mr. and Mrs. B. Okay, we'll see that. Income from B's own profession. Then Mrs. B salary as a fashion designer. Okay. Then minor son D enters on FD with the bank which were gifted to him by his uncle. Okay. Then minor daughter T is earning from sports. Talent, yes, taxable in her own hands. And D is winning from lottery, gross amount. Okay. Gross and net is what is the difference between gross and net? Tax. Tax is already reduced at source. That is net. Your tax is right now not reduced from source as of now. Okay. Okay. Question number 19. Examine the tax implication in the hands of Mr. and Mrs. B. Fine. No problem. Point number 1. income from B's profession. How much it is rupees? 45,000 only. Yes. Taxed in whose hands? Taxed with Mr. B. Under which head of income? PGBP. Mrs. B's salary as fashion designer rupees 76,000 less standard deduction under section क्या taxable under which head of income? Sorry, 26. Yes. Amount taxable under income from salaries. We already claimed the deduction, no? Minor son D. Bank FD interest. How much rupees? 10,000. Will be clubbed or not clubbed? If it is minor, always clubbed unless falls under those three exceptions. So this will be clubbed. In whose hands? Mr. B. That's why they had purposely given two figures of 76,000 and 45,000. And here in the salary they have not written computed. It was not the final figure. So because of the salary deduction, the income became lower of Mrs. B. Section 1032, exemption of rupees 1500 available, correct? Therefore, net amount here is how much? Rupees 8,500. 60? Same confusion. I was wondering what happened actually. The amount. Fourth, minor daughters earning from sports. How much rupees it is? 95,000 will be taxed in hands of in her own hands. Fine. No clubbing since earned out of talent. And last one, D's, lottery winning. Who was D? Correct. Rupees 1,95,000 will be taxed in hands of. Already we have allotted the son D to Mr. B. Allotted means now whatever is his minor son's income will be clubbed in the hands of Mr. B. And as it is, we have already claimed the exemption of 1,500 over there. Okay. So D is lottery winning. 1,95,000 will be taxed in hands of Mr. A. Sorry, not A, B, no. One point I have to write down. TDS will be done in name of D. The income is taxed in hands of Mr. B. Therefore, Mr. B will also be eligible to claim TDS done in name of D. Correct. Master. डायरेक्ट में कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं हुई. हाँ सही बात. So who won the lottery? D. So the lottery company is going to make payment to D. And for the lottery company, the recipient is D. That's why they are going to do TDS in the name of D. So their work is done. But when we are doing income tax computation, filing income tax return, we will be clubbing this income in the hands of Mr. B. Therefore, the TDS done also will be clubbed in the hands of Mr. B. Okay. Fine. TDS will be also clubbed, just simply how we are clubbing the income. Okay. Next one. 20. During the previous year, the following transaction occurred in respect of Mr. A. Mr. A has an FD of 5 lakhs in the Bank of India. He instructed the bank to credit the interest on the deposit at 9% from the year 19 to 20 to savings bank account of Mr. B, son of his brother, to help him in his education. Okay, so he has transferred the income without transfer of assets. Are you following or no? FD is in whose name? Mr. A, but income is going where? Mr. B, someone else only now, some relative, but there is no transfer of asset. Will be clubbed or not? Is it minor son concept? No, it will be just clubbed. Very good. First section itself. Second, Mr. A holds 75% profit in a partnership firm. Mrs. A received a commission, rupees 25,000 from the firm for promoting the sales of the firm. She doesn't have any necessary qualification. Okay, so it will be again clubbed or not? Clubbed in the hands of Mr. A. More than how much? 20%, 20, 25, 10% of 20% of voting power of sharing profits. Correct ratio. So he holds. So it will be clubbed in his hand, as well as she doesn't have that qualification. Correct. Okay. Mr. A gifted a flat to Mrs. A flat. Okay. During the year, Mrs. A income from HP computed their view. Okay, 52,000 from such flat. Fine. Mr. A gifted 2 lakhs to his minor son, who invested the same in the business, and he derived income of rupees 20,000 from the investment. Okay. A's minor son derived an income of 20,000 from an activity involved in application of his skill and talent that is not to be clubbed. And during the year, Mr. A got monthly pension of 10,000. He has no other income. Mrs. A received salary of 20,000 per month from a part-time job, so that will be taxed in her own hands. Examine tax implications. So before this, only for one adjustment, we have to see section 27. Check in a notebook, textbook. Deemed ownership. That was part of your HP chapter. Yes? Deemed means what again? Assume. That means whoever is on paper owner, he will not be considered as owner. Or someone else who is not on paper owner, he will be considered as owner of that house property. So though not legal owners, legal means not on paper, following are deemed to be owners of the house property. Transfer to a spouse, very important, or we can say classic case. In case of a transfer of HP by an individual to his or her spouse, otherwise than for an adequate consideration, understood or not? Gift or inadequate consideration, the transferor is deemed to be the owner of the transferred property. Important. So husband transfers to wife or wife transfers to husband, does not take anything in return. Are you following here? This will be deemed ownership. Yes? Then next one. But over there is an exception. In case of transfer to spouse in connection with an agreement to live apart, the transfer will not be deemed to be the owner. So there is a transfer, there is nothing written in consideration, but this was required by law or as per agreement to live apart. So there will be, the transfer will not be held as deemed owner. The transferee will be the owner and taxable in transferee's hand. Transfer to a minor child. What is transferred? Which asset? House property. The entire thing belongs to house property. Section 27 does not belong over here directly. It belongs to house property. Transfer to a minor child. In case of a transfer of HP by an individual to his or her minor child, otherwise than for again an adequate consideration, again the transfer will be deemed to be the owner. Again exception. In case of transfer to a minor married daughter, okay, minor married daughter, transfer is not deemed to be the owner. That means taxable, or it is income, or you can say asset of minor married daughter. Holder of an impartible estate. Impartible means which cannot be bifurcated or divided. The impartible estate is a property which is not legally divisible. It may be still under litigation or whatever. The holder of an impartible estate shall be deemed to be the individual owner of all the properties comprised in the estate. So whoever is holding that property will be deemed as owner, even if they may not be right now legal, you can say owners. See, income tax department or income tax law is not going to skip the income just because it is not able to determine who is the actual owner of that property. So whoever they say is the holder, that will be the owner of that property for income tax purpose. Member of a cooperative society. A member of society, company or AOP to whom a building or part thereof is allotted or leased under a house building scheme of a society, company or association. It is what? A scheme of the society. Shall be deemed, who will be deemed? The member to be the owner of that building or part thereof, allotted to him through the cooperative society, company, association is the legal owner of that building. I told you also, for a cooperative society, the legal owner is the society. We are just taking the share from the property of that society. But still, for that purpose also, who is the owner of that HP? The member is the owner of the HP. Okay. Person in possession of a property. A person who is allowed to take or retain the possession of any building or part thereof in part performance of a contract in nature referred to in section 53A of TOPA shall be deemed to be the owner of that property. Check, some examples are given. Possession of property has been handed over to the buyer. Sale consideration has been paid or promised to be paid to the seller by the buyer. Sale deed has not been executed in the favor of buyer. Do you know the case of this? Now, TOPA, what does it TOPA say? This has reference to your CG also, capital gains. Income tax says what? When will transfer happen? There is to be obviously capital asset. It can be either a movable asset or an immovable asset. When will SOGA come into picture? SOGA, Sale of Goods Act. Movable. And I told you immovable property, TOPA, Transfer of Property Act. The Transfer of Property Act or Income Tax Act does not bother or care whose name is on the paper. They care whether the transfer took place, and for them a simple definition of transfer is there. There is Mr. A, I am giving an example, and Mr. B. Check. Mr. A gave to Mr. B possession. It can be whatever kinds of types of delivery you might be knowing or types of possession. Mr. A might be a builder, gave the possession. There may still not be a construction completion certificate. They may not have yet registered or executed the transfer deed also. Mr. A may have just given the keys to Mr. B. They will say later on we will enter into the sale deed also. Are you following? Mr. B gave or promises to give the consider. There is an exchange. Are you following here? So we are going behind the essence of that transaction, not on paper. Otherwise people will keep on avoiding also, no? So here if the possession is given, there is some money received, that is a transfer. So if that is the transfer, then in this case, who will be the owner? Tell me who is the owner on paper right now? Mr. A is the owner on paper right now. But who will be deemed to be the owner? Are you following on? Yes? So check. Sale deed has not yet been executed in the favor of buyer. So who is deemed owner? The person who is taking the possession of that property. Although certain other documents like power of attorney, agreement to sell, etc. may have been executed. The main sale deed is not yet executed. And last one. Person having right in a property for a period not less than 12 years. Right in a property for 12 years, okay? At least 12 years. A person who acquires any rights in or with respect to any building or part thereof by virtue of or because of any transaction as referred in section 269 UA subclause F, that is transferred by way of lease for not less than 12 years. Who is the owner over here? A person who acquires the possession. Again the possession, okay? Shall be deemed to be the owner of that building or part thereof. Okay? Lessor and lessee, you can see. Lessor and lessee. No lessee. Lizard. Whoever. On paper, owner is Mr. A. Okay? He gave the property to Mr. B on lease. It is a long lease. Are you following till here? In respect of any building or part thereof. Fine till here? How long?
Not less than 12 years.
So at least 12 years. Who is the owner on property of on paper? Is there a sale deed? Is this a sale transaction, transfer transaction? No. Who is the owner on paper? Mr. A. Who will be deemed to be the owner? Mr. B. If that is a kind of a long lease of at least 12 years. You know this small theatres we had in Pune also. That Prabhat theatre we have I think still. Prabhat theatre we have Deccan Gymkhana in Pune. And even there are some properties from British government which are still given to some association of persons or someone else. The theatre were given on lease for 100 years. Even Deccan Gymkhana is given on lease for a couple of hundred of years at a very nominal amount of rent. only that old amount of rent is still being accumulated. So if the lease is of more than 12 years, whoever is now the possessor of that property will be deemed as owner of that property. That means now whatever income will arise on that property will be taxed in the hands of deemed owner. Exception: any rights by way of lease from month to month or for a period of not exceeding 1 year. Now that means cumulatively the lease may be more than 12 years. Maybe more than 12 years, but the lease is renewed 1 month after another month, or maybe total is also not exceeding 1 year. In that case, the possessor will not be deemed as owner. Okay. Give me, instead of then going for question 20, for question 12, give me answer. Where the following incomes earned, you can write in No.2 also. You can, where the following incomes earned will be clubbed in the hands of minor. Income from a TV show of rupees 15,000, not clubbed since
Talent.
earned through skill, talent. Okay. Second one, interest on capital rupees 12,000. Obviously club. Until and unless it does not fall under those three exceptions, it will always be clubbed. Remuneration from a partnership firm. No. Remuneration, that is from his skills or manual work. Correct? No. It can be any work. No. There is either labor work, manual work, or you can say application of mind. Therefore, not clubbed. Fourth,
No. Yes. Yes.
share of profits from a partnership firm of LLP rupees 30,000. This is again the income itself is exempt. So please. So there is no question of clubbing, correct? Very good. A minor owns some shares, he sells them, CG. Will income from CG also be clubbed? We are not doing any kind of heads of income or over. Heads of income or over. So irrespective of heads of income, it will be clubbed. Will your answer change if the child suffered from disability under section 80U? Obviously, then no clubbing will not be clubbed since exception. Then next one, business loss of rupees 50,000. If business income was clubbed, then business loss will also be clubbed. Loss will be clubbed since income is also clubbed. Right? And what do we do? Receipt from sale of paintings and drawings made by minor, rupees 25,000. Will he be eligible for exemption under section 1032?
No.
No, it is taxed in his own hands. taxed in own hands. (1032) is available to parent in whose hands income is clubbed. Income is clubbed. Yes? Next one. Income by way of lottery earning rupees 28,000. Correct? Club in bracket rupees 28,000 minus 1,500 will be clubbed. Or you can say taxable. How much? Next. Interest on company deposits derived by minor 40,000. The company deposits were transferred by the parent to minor for adequate consideration. Still club. Why it does not fall under exceptions? Minus income always club. Unless exception. Fine. And interest on the minor child whose parents have died in an accident. No parents, no clubbing. Correct? No parents, so no clubbing. If only one parent is alive, then obviously in that parent's hands it will be clubbed. So no parents, so no clubbing. Therefore, taxable in hands of. Correct. Minor child. Tell me whether minors include stepson and all of that. It includes. So unless now he's adopted or now he has some guardian, in that case will be clubbed in the hands of that caretaker later on. But right now, taxable in own hands. Okay. Fine. So some only few questions are remaining now. Okay, that will go up in the next lecture.